So French Open semifinals are here and some of the craziest matches that are going to happen today, and we are going to discuss that thing. First match is between kunlavut vitidsarn and Christo Popov. Kunlavut vitidsarn yesterday defeated Alfian in a third set match, and I will discuss about this match. Discussing about Christo Popov, he defeated Chia from Chinese Taipei in straight 2 set, and he's again in semifinals. Talking about first of all kunlavut vitidsarn head to head, if we talk about 3 times kunlavut vitidsarn has won against Christo Popov. That's an 1-time lead for kunlavut vitidsarn. Talking about kunlavut vitidsarn versus Alfian yesterday's match, I told you that if Alfian even do a third set, I am much happier. But talking about more in detail about yesterday's match against Alfian, I want to talk about one particular thing that Alfian had the chances to win. I was thinking like, man, Alfian can defeat kunlavut vitidsarn. There was some rallies where Alfian was dominating kunlavut vitidsarn. Kunlavut vitidsarn is having one of the, I will say that most basic, or I will say that basic in the sense that he's so much perfect in footwork. Then I will say that stroke perfection. He's so much that whenever he wants to, I will say that pace up the game, he can do that. If he want to pace down the game, he can do that. So he's ultimate men's singles player right now after Chen Yu Fei, of course. So doing that great rallies against kunlavut vitidsarn and Alfian has my respect against that yesterday's match. But one more thing, that if Alfian would have won this match, I wouldn't have been surprised because he did a crazy good job. One and only thing that was missing is that can he do the same thing again and again? He did a crazy good match against world number 2 kunlavut vitidsarn, but can he do this against? Last week we all know first second round exit, then this round in French Open he's been into quarterfinals and against kunlavut vitidsarn giving crazy good match. But inconsistency is the issue with this youngster. And talking about Christo Popov against Chia from Chinese Taipei, and crazy good match. As Christo Popov, I have discussed about him in my previous videos too. World Championships, Denmark Open, take any tournament, Christo Popov is going into quarters or semis, and I have always discussed about Popov brothers, how good they are in men's singles too, and how good they are in men's doubles too. They just need to select either men's singles or men's doubles, and they will be into finals clearly. Talking about this match, kunlavut vitidsarn versus Christo Popov, who can be winning this match? Look, head to head goes with the kunlavut vitidsarn, but that 2 wins against kunlavut vitidsarn is also in the game. And talking about this thing, who can win this match? I will say that momentum is with kunlavut vitidsarn. Yes, Christo Popov can push a third set or around 21-19, 21-18, but kunlavut vitidsarn is a little bit better player right now, as he is world number 2 and he is having experience of semifinals and finals multiple times. We have seen that Christo Popov gives crazy good matches in round of 32, 16, quarterfinals. He is there to win the tournament. I will say that some points where he is missing is tiredness. That I will say that men's doubles tiredness. After men's doubles he has to play men's singles too, and this takes many, I will say that, load on body. And everyone who is a player knows that if you are playing 2 categories, it is very tough to do crazy good in both categories. So this is the thing, kunlavut vitidsarn is having little bit upper hand against kunlavut vitidsarn. Kunlavut vitidsarn is having upper hand against Christo Popov, but I will say that never say never. Can Christo Popov defeat kunlavut vitidsarn? I will say that yes, there are possibilities. But what can be the result? I will say that kunlavut vitidsarn is winning here. I am going for 60-40%, 60-40 for kunlavut vitidsarn and 40% for Christo Popov. So next men's singles match is between world number 3 Feng and against will be Antonsen, who is world number 4. Head to head goes with I will say that one upper hand is for Antonsen, and in last round Feng defeated Koki Watanabe, and Antonsen defeated world number 1-time world number 1 and 2-time gold medalist Victor Axelsen in a third set match. Let's just discuss about Koki Watanabe versus Feng. Match extended to a third set. This tournament, after injuries and so many, I will say that tournament where Koki Watanabe wasn't been able to perform at his best. Right now, this tournament, French Open, was the crazy part for Koki Watanabe. He has shown that he is having potential. He has been performing from years, but this tournament is the, I will say that, breakout for him. But I would have been more happy if he would have defeated Li Shifeng. But that's completely fine. Li Shifeng was a better player today. And talking about this particular match extended to a third set. But still, Koki Watanabe's performance was crazy good, and performing this level of performance against world number 3 is the thing that I really liked about Koki Watanabe. And talking about Antonsen versus Victor Axelson's match, one thing that I understand about Victor Axelsen is simple, that whenever he is losing, I will say that some of the things that I clearly see in Victor Axelsen's gameplay, that whenever he is losing, his strokes goes out, he is doing more and more errors whenever he is losing. And talking about Anders Antonsen, look, he is type of player, if he is in mood, or I will say that if he is performing better on court, if he is performing better at that day, no one can defeat him. Even Shiuchi or take any other player, no one can defeat Anders Antonsen. He is one of the kind of players whose mindset is the thing that I always get mesmerized from. And one thing that is more, I will say that, important about Anders Antonsen is that tournament wins are missing, man. From a lot time he is performing, he is going into some semis, finals, but I will say that dominating Anders Antonsen is a little bit missing. And talking about this particular match, Anders Antonsen versus Li Shifeng, upper hand is of course on Anders Antonsen side. Crowd, I will say that, will be on Anders Antonsen's side too. And but talking about Li Shifeng, look, there are issues whenever Li Shifeng is going through some 3-set games, some, I will say that, tough games in first 1 or 2 rounds. He always loses in semifinals or finals. This is common pattern. Whenever Li Shifeng wins first 1 or 2 rounds in straight 2 sets, or even third round quarterfinals in straight 2 set, he go into finals and win that tournament. But this is the common pattern that I have seen. Yesterday's match against Koki Watanabe was a little bit tiring too. And talking about this particular match, who can win? Of course, I will say that this match has every potential to be the best match in semi-finals. Now, of course, every category, this match has every possibility. Please watch out this match. And whom I am predicting will be winning, I will be going for Anders Antonsen. Simple, 51-49. Okay, 51-49%. Let's talk about women's singles match. Ansiang will be against Chen Yu Fei, as Ansiang is world number 1 and Chen Yu Fei is world number 5. Head to head is going with Chen Yu Fei, by the way. Chen Yu Fei has defeated Ansiang 14 times, and 13 times Ansiang was winning. And talking about these 13 wins came in last, I will say that, 3 or 4 years. And one thing that Ansiang has done perfect whenever she is against Chen Yu Fei is putting pressure on Chen Yu Fei. And what Chen Yu Fei has done crazy good against Ansiang whenever she won against Ansiang was putting pressure in third set. Majority of the time we have seen that whenever Ansiang or Chen Yu Fei are performing, there is a third set. Okay, but what Chen Yu Fei can do against Ansiang is exactly what Akane Yamaguchi did against Ansiang few weeks back when Akane defeated Ansiang. I will say that the attack level, Chen Yu Fei can do that level of attack that Akane Yamaguchi did. So that thing can help Chen Yu Fei defeat Ansiang. But talking about yesterday's match, Ansiang versus Gao Feng, man, one of the craziest matches, already in my top 10 list of 2025, one of the craziest match. And I really liked how Gao showed the character, how she put the pressure in Ansiang's in first set. Ansiang was leading in first set, and after leading she lost that match, and clearly disappointment was visible in Ansiang's face around after 21 in first set. After she was clearly disappointed, she was getting a little bit emotional too. And watching Ansiang getting emotional after losing first set, or I will say that matches, is not a thing that I commonly see. But Gao Fengje, heads off to her, she gave one of the craziest matches, and I really liked how Gao pushed Ansiang to do her best. This Ansiang, who is, I will say that, shouting, enjoying the win, or I will say that after match, if you have seen this match, you will understand that after match when Ansiang was enjoying her win, she knows that how much important this match was. You have seen Ansiang winning tournament and shaking hands with her opponent. I will say that little bit getting happy and everything, that yes, I won and everything. But 2024's Ansiang was celebrating her wins. Whenever she wins tournaments, then only she shouts. I will say that whenever she do a crazy good match, she shouts and she enjoys the game after match. But one thing that was invisible in 2025 was that shout, that enjoyment, that I will say that Ansiang was missing. But finally, Gao Feng put out that game, and finally, that Ansiang is back, and I'm really happy for her. And talking about Chen Yu Fei, she defeated Akane Yamaguchi in a third set. Third set was only Chen Yu Fei was very visible in Akane Yamaguchi. I was expecting a third set, as I discussed in my previous video too, in prediction video too, but I was not expecting this level of domination from Chen Yu Fei. Akane Yamaguchi in some release literally left the rally. Like she was not, I will say that, able to continue the rally. This was clearly visible. But talking about Chen Yu Fei, way better. She was way better. And talking about Ansiang versus Chen Yu Fei's match, who is going to win? I will go for Ansiang, and the reason is simple. Perfect time for Ansiang to equate this head-to-head. 14 all, perfect timings, and this is what Ansiang has been doing with every other players, and majority of the players are having 14-1, 14-2, 14-0. Majority are having 8-0, 9-0 against Ansiang, but Chen Yu Fei, Akane Yamaguchi, these are having a little bit upper head against Ansiang, so that is a better thing. But whoever wins, I will be. This is men's doubles, and world number 1 Kim Seo will be against my favorites Astrup and Rasmussen. And yesterday Kim Seo defeated Manti from Malaysia in a third set match, and Astrup Rasmussen defeated Goisdun in a third set match. So both the Malaysian pairs are out right now. Kim Seo, man, how good are they? How good they are. But I have always discussed about Kim Seo, but credit goes to Manti too. They literally pushed Kim Seo yesterday to a third set. I was expecting I will say that crazy good match. Of course I was expecting that thing, but pushing Kim Seo to a level that almost you defeat Kim Seo is a tough thing. Lane and Wendy and many other players tried to do this thing. Majority of the players tried to do this thing, but unable to do that. But talking about Man and T, man, they were crazy good yesterday. And talking about Kim Seo, of course they are world number 1s. I have discussed about them in many of my videos, so I will not repeat that thing. Talking about Astrup Rasmussen versus Goisdun, man, that Goisdun are finally back, and that's why I'm happy. Even though they lost here, one thing I discussed in my yesterday's prediction video too, that Goisdun are my 2024's favorite players, and Astrup and Rasmussen are my favorite from years. They are performing crazy good men's doubles from years and years. So I will say that I was glad to see Goisdun are finally back performing that crazy level of badminton, and I am again happy for Astrup and Rasmussen, because from last 3 or 4 months, those Astrup and Rasmussen, they were literally losing in straight 2 set, 21-12, 21-14, this type of scores. Astrup and Rasmussen they were losing. Finally watching them defeating Goisdun was, I will say that, a good thing for me as an badminton men's doubles fan. But let's just discuss Kim Seo versus Astrup and Rasmussen. Who is going to win here? Of course, crowd favorite or crowd will support Astrup and Rasmussen, but talking about Kim Seo, defeating them will be a tough thing. Whenever Kim Seo are in semifinals or finals, defeating them is almost not impossible. Of course, it's not impossible. Some pair who can do it, it is Astrup and Rasmussen. They can defeat Kim Seo. But when momentum and the level of performance that Kim Seo are giving, and as they are number 1, 2, their game is, I will say that, almost undefeatable. Their flat gameplay, I really like that flat gameplay. So less players are there who believe in flat gameplay or placing gameplay, because majority men's doubles player, you will understand one thing, that put on net, get a lift and attack. Put a shuttle on net, lift and attack. This is common pattern you will see in men's doubles. But few players, I will not say that few, there are more players too who give their 100% in flat gameplay too, and one of them are Kim Seo. So that is the thing that I always like in their gameplay. Who will be winning here? Again, I am going for 51-49. Next men's doubles match, Alfian and Fikri, who will be against Chia, and so head to head goes with Alfian and Fikri. But one thing that I am happy for is the same words that I told you regarding Goisdun, that finally Chia so are back. I will discuss about them in few moments, but Alfian and Fikri defeated Arif and Yep in straight 2-set. Match was literally dominating. Man, I have discussed about Arif and not Arif, Yep, Alfian and Fikri in last few weeks, that how good they are in their attack. Man, this level of attack I have seen in I will say that previous players too. Like take an example of Endo Watanabe. Whenever you see Endo Watanabe, you will see a combination like the racket skill of Yuta Watanabe and Endo. The level of power smashing by Endo, I will say that was clearly visible whenever you see Endo Watanabe. This pair was performing few years back. Of course, they are not performing right now. They took retirement. Not they. Yuta Watanabe is still there, but I'm talking about Endo. Talking about this pair, Alfian and Fikri, the level of attack and their level of aggression that I see in Alfian and Fikri, I don't see this level of aggression in any other pair. Of course, there is another pair, Sachi. There is a Sachi and there is Chia. So these are few players. There are few players too that I have discussed, but these are 3 or 4 pairs who can go for crazy good attack, and they will be against Chia. So Chia defeated Gautama and Isfahani in a third set. It was a little bit tiring match. Gautama and Isfahani, man, what a match they gave. 2 pairs that I'm really happy for is Golden and Gautama Isfahani. Talking about Chia, so finally they are back into that game in which they were been a favorite. They have been favorite to be in finals or semi-finals from years. I will say that Chia are one of the kind of players that will go, I will say that completely rage mode, or not rage mode, carnage, or I will say that I'm literally missing the words, but understand my feelings, that Chia are one of the kind of players who can go for crazy good attack, crazy good dangerous attack whenever they want. This is type of thing that you miss in current badminton players, upcoming badminton players. That upcoming badminton players attack is not at that level that Chia, Govind, then Sachi, these are the players whose attack. Alfian and Fikri is perfect example of that. So talking about Chia, yesterday's match way good, and Gautama Isfahani, they got little bit short against Chia, but I'm happy for Chia. They are into semi-finals, but whom they are against, Alfian and Fikri, 1, 2, 3 or 4 pairs who has every possibility to defeat Alfian and Fikri, and one of them is Chia. So I'm literally going, even though head to head is going against Chia, 1-0 it is. So Chia haven't won against Alfian and Fikri, but let me tell you one thing, let me give you a spoiler, Chia are winning today, mark my words. Next is women's doubles, in which Li Luo will be against Chen and Chia. Head to head, of course, goes with Chen Jia. And talking about Li Luo, they defeated Kim Kong in straight 2 sets. Just imagine, this is a kind of players like Kim Kong and Bakley. These are kind of players who will never get, I will say that, tired in any release, and tiring them in release is a tough thing for their opponents. And this is what Li Luo did yesterday, and they are again proving that there are multiple women's doubles players who can be in semis and finals too. And defeating player like Kim Kong was a milestone. I will say that this is a milestone. Kim Kong are one of the current top rated players that I really like. They have been into multiple finals, they have been into multiple semi-finals. They are having one of the perfect women's doubles pair and one of the perfect women's doubles gameplay. They perform crazy good badminton from start to end, and they win some tournament too, but defeating them was a milestone. And talking about Chen Jia, who defeated Politan and Thinna yesterday, let me discuss this thing in detail. They defeated Politan and Thinna in straight 2 set. I want to give you a context. Last year in 2024, whenever you ask me that you choose between Chen Jia and Jia Zheng, currently I will go for Jia and Zheng, but this Chen Jia, 2024 Chen Jia are, I will say that, something different. 2024 and before that, those years, those Chen Jia are completely different. Defeating them was almost impossible to any other players. Like just like Ansiang is right now, every other player wasn't been able to defeat them. So that type of gameplay Chen Jia has always shown. But talking about Politan and Thinna, man, I don't know what is going on with them. There was a time last week in Arctic Open when they defeated Ivanaga Nakanishi in straight 2 set with a domination, aggression, and I was so much happy for Politan and Thinna, and I was like, man, what a performance, man. This is kind of performance that I have always looked forward to in Politan and Thinna, and I was so much happy for Politan and Thinna, both players, Malaysian pair. I was so much happy that finally they are back, and those signs are back that they will defeat Liu 10. But what happened after that in Denmark Open, man, destruction. What happened right now in French Open, it is kind of destruction, man. I was expecting a win against Chen Yu, and the reason was simple. This is not the Chen Yu that I know. That dominating Chen Yu are not visible. Still they are performing. Chia is doing some crazy good placing, Chen is improving, Chen King is improving, everything is on positive side, but this is not the Chen Yu that I know. That aggression is little bit missing. I will say that little bit coordination issues are there too, and getting defeated against this Chen Yu, I was not expecting this thing. I was even expecting a third set, but man, 21-16 and 21-16 are the scores, and I was expecting a third set, but I am not happy with the performance of Puritan and Thanna, and reason is simple. I was expecting a final or at least a final win for Puritan and Thanna. Look, whenever I discuss about Politan and Thinna, I always see them going into finals and defeating Liu 10. This is the goal, to be in finals, or I will say that to defeat Liu 10. Liu 10 are world number ones right now, okay. To get that spot, you don't have to be always in world number 2, right? Of course, if you ask Politan and Thinna, their goal will be to get world number 1, to be world number 1. Of course, everyone will tell you this, and of course, to get into that world number 1 spot, you have to win some tournaments. You have to defeat Chen Yu, you have to defeat every other players, Ivanaga Nakanishi, every other players, even Liu 10. So defeating Liu 10, I was expecting that thing, and getting defeated against Chen Yu, I was literally not expecting this thing. But credit where it's due, credit goes to Chen Yu. They did perform the crazy good badminton yesterday. But what are my expectations from Politan and Thinna? Look, man, at least World Tour finals. I want them in finals, or at least a semi-finals in World Tour that is coming in December. The domination, like what I see in Politan and Thinna, is simple thing. I want them to be in top number 1. They are 2 right now, okay. I want them to be world number 1, and to be at that spot, you need to defeat top rated players. They need to, I will say that, give some tournaments where they are literally dominating. Right now, a few months back, 1 or 2 months back, Jia Zhang defeated them. This is not the thing that every other player can defeat you. Of course, they are not every other players, but of course they were not Chen Yu, they were Jia Zhang. So of course I was expecting Politan and Thinna to defeat them. But man, what happened to them, I don't know. What is going with Politan and Thinna, I really don't know. Performance level, where is the issue? I don't know that thing, because game was good, they were performing better. But Chen Yu, man, they're discussing about this match, I was at least expecting a third set. I don't know what is going with them, but my expectation still goes with Politan and Thinna. I really want them to be world number 1 sooner or later. Finally, let's talk about mixed doubles. In mixed doubles, Boje will be against Thailand's Dechapol and Supissara. Man, first of all, why I am happy, you know that thing. I will discuss about that thing in a few moments. But Boje defeated Jikel and Delru in straight 2 set. I will say that majority of the power and majority of the, I will say that energy that Jikel and Delru had, they just lost in a round of 16 match against Rohan and Shivani. That match was completely different match, crazy good match it was. So Boje, of course, they defeated world number 1's Jiang Wei. So they did show that why they defeated Jiang Wei, and performing a better match against Jiken and Delru and defeating them in straight 2 set. Talking about Dechapol and Supissara, they defeated Midori Kawa and Saito from Japan in straight 2 sets. So both pair, Dechapol and Supissara and Boje, both defeated their opponents in straight 2 sets. So now coming back to my point that I want to discuss, that every time whenever any tournament is happening, I always discuss about that one thing, that Jiang Wei are there, Feng are there, Jiang Wei are there, Feng are there in finals. I always discuss this one thing, that at least one different country player I want in finals. From last 2 weeks there was domination for China, and last 6 or 7 months, just go and watch every other tournament, you will find one Chinese pair. this was the thing, and I discussed about this thing last week too, that at least one pair I want in finals in mixed doubles, and finally there will be one player or pair will be in finals against most probably another mixed doubles pair with the Feng will win there. Talking about this match, who is having upper hand? Of course, Christiansen Boje are having upper hand. Defeating world number ones was not an easy game, and man, match extended to 29-27 scores, and man, what a match it was. So crazy good match. So clearly in my top 10 list. Of course, there are only 6 or 7 spots are filled. 3 more matches are coming in my top 10 list of 2025s. But talking about who can be winning here, of course, Christiansen Boje are having upper hand. They are going through crazy good momentum. But if one pair who is having potential to defeat Christiansen Boje, it is Dechapol and Supissara. They have been into multiple finals. They have been defeating top rated players multiple times with consistency. This is the thing that I like about Dechapol and Supissara, and if they will defeat Christiansen Boje, I won't be surprised because they are having that potential. So comment down below which match you are looking forward to.